All right, welcome everyone to our first Kati course on time management. I'm your academics chairperson, Brandon Nguyen. I'm a fourth year bio major, pronoun he, him, his.
Wow.
So a little bit about me. Like I said, I'm a fourth year bio major, and I'm the academics chairperson. And so on the left side of the screen here, this is at one point in my college career, I had to balance all these things at once. So I had to focus on getting good grades. I was volunteering in the hospital. I was working. I was doing research. I was on PACN. I was running my own photography business, and I was still getting to the gym each week. So that's not like to flex or anything like that, but it's just to show you that it is possible to balance anything that you have as long as you know how to manage your time and to control your time. And so you might look at those things and be like, oh wow, like he's really driven, he's really on top of it, and he's like, I don't know, he's really hardworking. But something that a lot of people don't know is that I'm actually like really lazy. Like when it comes to deadlines or anything like that, I will not remember any deadlines. I'm super bad with dates, but because I basically, whenever I think of something, I put it in a calendar and then I just forget about it, right? Because I use my calendar for everything, and that's like my main time management tool. And so that's how I'm able to stay on top of everything, even though I'm pretty lazy. Right, yeah. And then I'm gonna play this video real quick and I'm gonna narrate over it. But this is probably like the thing that's changed my mindset on like, let's see, yeah, it's the thing that's changed my mindset on time management. So I muted the video because I don't really like the sound, but but basically on the left you have a jar there, and then down here, this is like a box of sand, then there's pebbles, and then there's big rocks. And so the challenge is you have to be able to fit all those into this jar without overflowing it. And so you'll see him try to do it. So he's doing the sand first. I wonder if I could, no, I'm not gonna speed up, it's okay. And so right, yeah, so like what it's saying down there, the sand is representative of like the distractions in our life, like things like social media, YouTube, TikTok, any distractions like that. And then these small pebbles are representative of, you know, little deadlines, things like maybe homework, maybe errands you have to do. And then these big rocks are representative of the most important things in life, right? Like getting your sleep, making sure you're staying in touch with your family, making sure you're eating. And as you can see, when you do it in that order, it doesn't fit. But let's see what happens when you do it a different order. So in this one, he's starting with the big rocks, right? So he's putting all his important things in life first. So he's putting in his family life, his sleep life, his making sure he's eating healthy, and he's going to the gym if that's a big part of your life. So he's putting all those in first, making sure he gets those in. Okay, he's done with that. And then next he's going to be putting in these small pebbles, right? And remember, these are things like little deadlines, like due dates, like homework and assignments, little things like that. And then lastly, he's going to fill in the rest with sand, right? And remember, the sand is things that are like distractions, like social media, being on your phone, anything like that that can distract you and take away from your time. And so you'll see that compared to the first time, you're really making use of the entire jar. And this sand is getting into all the cracks, and it is, you know, it's filling up everything. And you're able to fit everything in the same jar, same amount of everything. It's just about the order in which you're doing these things. So yeah, that is the rocks and sand analogy. That's like one of my favorite analogies to use when I'm talking about time management, because it's just a really important concept to get. Okay, so now we're going to go into a little bit about kind of like so when we're talking about time management, we're mostly talking about it in the context of like school, right, and doing your work. And so the first thing that's important to look at is like the conditions in which you do your work. So things like location, right? Like you probably aren't going to be as productive if you're studying in your bed compared to your desk. But also the time of day can also affect your productivity. So location, like I said, a lot of people study at their bed, their desk. Some people like coffee shops or libraries. Everyone's different, but only you really know where you are the most productive. So figuring out which one is your optimal study environment is the first step for you. And then if you're like really picky, then sometimes you can only study when it's hot, sometimes you can only study when it's cold, but I think knowing your ideal study environment is best. All right, so that's it on location, right? And so, oh yeah, so like I said, there's location, but there's also time, right? And this one not a lot of people know about. And so the thing with time is there are certain parts in our day where we just don't feel like doing anything. And for some people that's early in the morning, for some people it's at night, or some people it's just right in the middle of the day, they're kind of slumped, they don't really feel like doing anything. And so the idea with energy hours is to make use of our periods of time where we're at our highest energy. And so where we're at our highest energy, let's see. You'll see that the ones in green, this is like a example up here, but in green, these are, let's say, my high energy time zones, right? From 10 a.m. all the way until 5 p.m. is when I'm at my highest energy. And so, during my high energy times, that's when I schedule my my hardest tasks, the one that require the most energy, the more demanding tasks. So you'll see I have things like homework, reading, geography, doing a practice presentation, things like that, and then gymming, of course, right, because that takes a lot of energy. But let's say, you're, like in this hypothetical schedule, I'm not a morning person, right? Like in the first 2 hours of the day, I'm just like super dead, and so I don't really do much, right? I wake up, wash up, I do the easy things like eating breakfast, watching YouTube, things like that. And then at the end of the day, it says my low energy hours are also from 5 until, let's say, like 8. And then so I'm gonna do creative things like edit my grad photos, get dinner with my fam, and then play Apex with the houseies, of course. But so basically, the idea behind this is you want to make the most of your high energy times as possible, right? You don't want to try doing you don't want to try doing all your OChem homework right when you wake up, right? Like that would be pretty bad. Or like you don't want to do it right at night. But the idea behind this is that everyone is different, everyone's energy hours are different, and if you're a morning person, for example, your green zone might be up here. And so maybe you can squeeze in some more demanding tasks here. Or if you're a night owl, and you're more productive at night, you can squeeze in your green tasks at the end of the day. Now let's go into planning your schedule. So now that you know kind of what's required to have a good and consistent schedule, let's see. So the main thing that I work off of is called Parkinson's Law, which is basically saying work expands to fill the time available. So basically, if you set, a timer for yourself, let's say you're like, oh, I want to finish Kati course by 4:30, then you're going to finish Kati course by 4:30. But if I'm saying like, oh, I'll just present until, as long as I get the presentation done by the end of the day, then it's fine. But then the whole day, I'm gonna be working on it, So basically, work expands to fill the time available. So it's important to place these time restrictions on yourself when you do anything, and so that you can stay on track for time. And so that brings me to the next, probably the biggest strategy I use is time blocking. And so this is an actual example of my calendar this quarter. This isn't including studying or anything like that. This is just things these are basically my big rocks, right? Things that I just can't move. These are big things for me. So let's see. So all these yellow ones, and you'll see I have it color-coded, all these yellow ones are like personal things like waking up, gymming, showering, that stuff. These blue ones are, I can't tell if this is blue or purple, but these are my classes. This purple's my class. All the lime green is work, all that stuff, and the green is like my extracurriculars. And so you can see that I have my whole life kind of structured in the same way, and I know what to expect each day of the week, and then this repeats every week. And so the keys to a good schedule is making sure that it's realistic for you. And so so for me, I started working towards waking up at 8 every day, and it's been working pretty well for me. So that's my schedule. You don't have to wake up early to be productive. It's kind of just whatever fits your schedule. And so you want to start realistically. You don't want to try to work out like 7 days a week and wake up at 5 a.m. every day, because that might not be maintainable. And so, right, you want it to start realistically, be maintainable, color code it if possible. It helps you kind of understand, like, oh, yellow's personal. And then you also want to make sure that you do have enough sleep. So I don't have anything here yet because this doesn't include my studying yet, but you do want to make sure you're getting enough sleep. Oh yeah, and then so as for handling distractions, I do have a website blocker add-on on my Chrome. You can get an extension called Block Site, and because I always go on YouTube when I'm studying, like even when I shouldn't be, and watching like cooking videos and stuff like that. But sometimes if I really need to focus, I turn on the Block Site, and for like, I could choose how long, and basically like for an hour, it won't let me go on YouTube. So things like that. Or if you're more of a phone person, you could keep your phone out of sight or put it on Do Not Disturb. All right, so if you want to make, let's see, so if you want to make something like this, right, and then this is on Google Calendar, by the way, and this just repeats every week. You don't have to do anything else. It just automatically repeats. So if you want to do something like that, so you can see what your schedule looks like, remember we have the big rocks, right? It's things like sleep, family, religion, food, anything big like that that are just necessities to life for you. Then there's the pebbles, which are things like homework, exams, extracurriculars, things like that. And then sand are the distractions, right? The little things that fill up our day without us even knowing it. So it's like distractions, social media, video games, etc. And then so let's make a schedule. So if you want, you can go ahead and pull out a phone or laptop or something, and you could start making a schedule on Google Calendar. But I'll be kind of just modeling one right now for y'all. But so the question is, what should you add first? Like, what type of things would you add first? Does anyone know? Yes, Mr. Mark Vincent.
Classes.
Classes, right? What under like this, under these three categories, which category do you think classes would fall under?
I think Big Rock is like that's something you just have to attend.
Right. Yeah. So if you take a look at this schedule here, you'll see that. Let's see if you can take a mouse. Yeah. So you'll see here, right? Like I put in these are basically all my big rocks, right? Like things like class, these blue blocks here, I can't move these classes. Things like tabling, I can't move tabling. And things like work, I can't move my work schedule. You know, it's the same every week. And so I do want to put the big rocks first. And so if you were making your own schedule right now, then that's what you would do. So you'd want to put your big rocks in first. So just kind of following this order here. So you want to do your big rocks, like your classes, maybe sometimes people put their eating times, but that can kind of fit in around what else you have here. But yeah. So I use these My Calendars under Google Calendar to kind of color code my schedule. So for this one, I would probably call this one classes, and I'll just do a couple ones, but y'all know the gist of it. So this will be for classes. So let's say I have a Tuesday, Thursday class, 10 to like 11:20, let's say. So let's say that's like psychology. And then you could go here and you could have like a repeating type of thing. So you could do custom, and it could be Tuesday, Thursday, and then, let's see. It's going to end after 20 occurrences, right? Because you have a 10-week quarter, and there's 2 classes each week. So after it happens 20 times, then it'll stop, and then it's going to repeat every week. Okay? So you do that, and so that's just one in the class, right? So So there's that, and then let's say you have like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class at 9 a.m. Let's call this math. And this is repeats, custom, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then this is 3 times a week times 10. There's 30 occurrences, and so you'll do that. And so that's just an example of how you would kind of put in some of your classes. And then let's say you have work, let's say you have work like 12 to 4 every Monday, Wednesday or something, or what's it realistic? What's realistic hours per week to work, you think? For like part-time? Does anyone know?
Like 4 hours, like twice a week.
Twice a week? So 8 hours. Okay. Okay, so let's see. So let me see. I need to make another calendar. So let's say I have another aspect to my life, right? So let me make another. Or you could use this one here. Okay, so we're making a new calendar here. Let's go back. All right, and so I have this work here, but we want to change the calendar so that there's that, and then let's say that happens like 3 or 2 times a week. Monday, Thursday, let's say. And then that never ends. All right, and so that's just kind of like the baseline around how you would build a schedule. You're putting in your big blocks, your big rocks, I mean, and then in between now, you'll have like, oh, let's say after math lecture, I'm gonna work on my math homework for like 45 minutes, right? And so you could have do math homework. Oh. Do math homework. And then for me, I have a separate calendar for that. So if you want, you can go ahead and do that. So I just have a calendar called studying. Okay. Then you have this. I don't know why there's 2. You're studying, and so you can start adding in your smaller rocks here, right? So you could have this, and so maybe if you have homework due every class, you could have this after each, you could just work on your math homework after each class so that by the next time it'll be done. Or, oops. Or you could just have them in the front. But basically, once you start seeing where your gaps are, that's when you can start filling in with your smaller rocks, things like your homework, or anything like that. And then once those are filled, and you try to get those things done, then at the end of your days or in your gaps, you can start filling in with sand. So maybe while you're walking to class or something, you can watch a YouTube video or anything like that, or listen to music. But yeah, that's like the baseline about how to create a good and effective study schedule, and that's how you can, manage your time a lot better. So I definitely encourage all of you, if you haven't already, to try making like a Google Calendar for yourself. It'll really surprise you how much that it'll help you organize your life. And yeah, so just knowing how much time each of these things takes, and knowing to put your big rocks before your small pebbles and your small pebbles before your sand definitely helps you get everything done in your day, and it helps you make use of every hour and every minute of your day. So let's go back here. All right, so yeah, just to recap, just make sure you focus on these 3, categories in this order, because it really does help you maximize the amount of time you use each day, or else there's just a bunch of weird gaps and just wasted time. So if you're really crunched for time, I definitely recommend doing this to get back on top of it. All right. So we did that. And yeah, that is it. Thank you everyone for coming. On Instagram, go ahead and follow us on UCR Katipunan to stay up to date on all of our other socials and events. And if you have any questions or anything related to school, come down afterwards, DM me at Brandout, or send an email to the Katipunan Academics email. And we do have a social tonight for the Familia program at the Bell Tower at 8 p.m. And yeah. Shout out.